The Witcher 4 dev says it's very clear that Ciri is the right choice of protagonist, but that players shouldn't make opinions until the game is out. This is how it's going to be, and you will see in the game how it will play out. Well, this dev seems very confident in their choice as Ciri as the protagonist for Witcher 4, but I just want to lay some groundwork before I get into this because I am very passionate about this. I actually love The Witcher. I love the franchise. I love the character. I played The Witcher 2. I played The Witcher 3. Yeah, like 217 hours in The Witcher 3. I've read the books. Well, I've read two of the books. I read The Last Wish and The Sword of Destiny, which were the first two books. I remember in The Last Wish, I think Ciri's mentioned maybe once or twice. And in the Book of Destiny, she was introduced as a child a little bit in that book. But that's about it. I assume she's plays a bigger role later on in the books. But honestly, I didn't read that far. So my understanding is what I read in the books and from The Witcher 2 and more importantly, The Witcher 3's story. And in those stories, Ciri is, well, let's just be honest. She's the Empress of Nilfgaard, right? At the end. She's the Princess of Sintra. Is that the name of it? Here, let me check. Yeah, Sintra. She's basically a time wizard that has these magical powers of the Elder, I believe. I can't remember exactly, but she can basically travel through space and time, and she has superpowers. They also let her do crazy shit in combat. She's basically this super powerful empress and princess kind of deity almost, who battles against some of the most powerful characters in the Witcher franchise as a teenager and beats them. So this is who we're dealing with. Some super time and space wizard level who's been trained by a Witcher in combat as well and learned some of the Witcher's methods. Obviously hasn't on the Trial of Grasses, but it looks like that's going to change in The Witcher 4. So that's some background on Ciri. Empress of Nilfgaard, Princess of Sintra, powers to travel through space and time, has already beaten some of the most powerful characters in the franchise, you know, just with her wizard-based time travel powers alone. I don't remember exactly what their powers are called, but that's who she is. She is an extremely powerful character. So it's kind of weird that they turned her into a Witcher. They made her undergo the Trial of Grasses. Now she's out on her own fighting monsters. It just doesn't make sense. Like, if you actually know about this character, it doesn't make any sense. She would have, like, an entourage of guards following her around. Again, she's an empress and a princess. So it's weird. So, of course, there's a lot of pushback from actual fans of the franchise. But people are saying, oh, you're just not fans. It was always going to be Ciri. Of course she was going to become a Witcher. Of course she was going to undergo the Trial of Grasses, the trial that which people usually go through when they're, like, 8 years old. And most boys die. And no girls have ever survived the trial. But yeah, of course that was always going to happen. They were going to do that with Ciri. No, it doesn't make any sense in the lore. If you actually are a fan of the franchise and understand these things, it's kind of ridiculous. But anyways, I'm going to start reading the article. That was just a little tangent. Again, I am pretty passionate about this. It does annoy me, but I'm willing to give it a chance. But I'll wait until there's actual gameplay and not that fake tech demo that wasn't even real gameplay that they made look like gameplay with the panning. Oh, that was so cheap and pissed me off so much. But anyways, let's give them a chance and let's read this article. A developer on The Witcher 4 says that players shouldn't make their mind up about Ciri's role as protagonist until they've had the chance to fully embrace her character once the game is out. Speaking to Games Radar, Jan Hermanovich, engineering production manager on the recent The Witcher 4 tech demo. Yeah, again, the tech demo that was just fake gameplay. That they tried to masquerade as gameplay, but it was actually just Unreal, rendering. Unreal Engine rendering of... yeah, it was so lame that they tried to play that off as gameplay. When the game will be out, you'll be able to see for yourself and fully embrace her character, her story. And I think that will be the moment to make opinions and make the calls. In other words, players shouldn't be making up their mind about CD Projekt Red's choice of main character years before getting to play as them. Well, again, there's a lot more context than just a game that we haven't got to play. There's books, there's The Witcher 3, which again, if you played the game and you understand the story, it's kind of ridiculous that Ciri, the Empress of Nilfgaard, the Queen of Sintra, with the power to travel through space and time, has already defeated some of those powerful enemies in the fucking universe, now is suddenly a Witcher going out killing monsters. It's just kind of ridiculous. yeah, you'd have to have a major suspension of disbelief to be like, oh yeah, this is totally real and totally makes sense, and this is definitely what they should be doing. It's like, no, you could just use Geralt again. Just continue the story as Geralt. Like, that's what people actually want. Let's be honest. It's called The Witcher. You know who The Witcher is? The Witcher refers to Geralt in every book and every game. The Witcher is Geralt. Yes, there are other Witchers, but The Witcher is Geralt. So yes, it's kind of ridiculous, and I'm not on board yet, but they're gonna try to win me over by saying just wait until you play it yourself. Well, I might not play it myself because I might not buy the game. But again, sorry, we got to get through this article. I keep going on these crazy tangents. Oh man, we showed her in various situations, two emotional states that were very distinct from one another, Manovitz says, and there are many, many more parts of her that we will show in the future. And again, the trailer, the initial trailer, not the tech demo, but the initial trailer didn't do any justice to Ciri's character. They made her look like kind of like a pompous, kind of arrogant, sort of girl bossy character, which, I mean, Hollywood has chewed that up and spit it out 100 times over, and I think people have kind of soured on that whole premise, that kind of archetype for a character. So I really, really hope that initial trailer is not a reflection of what her character actually is, because she seems kind of insufferable based on that. But we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see. Hermanovists expressed agreement with recent comments from Geralt voice actor Doug Cockle, who said that players couldn't simply rely on his character for every future game. Cockle also said that players who doubted CD Projekt Red's choice should read the damn books. An idea that Hermanovics agrees with. Again, I have read 2 of the books. I'm not going to read all of them, but my understanding is that Ciri is a big character in the books and that she's trained to be a Witcher, but she doesn't undergo the trial of grasses, and she doesn't travel around solo as a Witcher. Again, she's an empress, a princess, and basically a time wizard. So it's just kind of silly. Whether or not you can be convinced to read Sapkowski's fantasy series, however, oh god, I hate these names. What is it, like Swedish? I don't remember exactly who. Oh yeah, they're somewhere in Europe. Hermanovics says nothing's going to change with CD Projekt Red's choice of character. Picking Ciri is a choice we made years ago, and this is how it's gonna be. See, like it or not, hey, this is how it's gonna be. They already made up their mind. And you will see in the game how it will play out, alright? They already said that. Sadly, that game is still likely to be several years away. Oh shit, it's further away than I thought. So we'll be waiting a while before we do get to see how Ciri's, what the fuck is this? As lead does play out. Okay, this is just broken English. Is this like written by an ESL? Alright, so we just need to see how Ciri plays out the lead, but I'll be eagerly awaiting regardless. I'm not gonna lie, the grammar in this article was pretty shit. I just wanted to talk about Ciri as the Witcher and how I think it's kind of silly. And again, they say, oh, read the damn books! Again, I've read the first 2. Do I have to read 20 books of the series in order to get to the point where it makes sense for Ciri to go through the Trial of Grasses, basically forsake her role as Empress and Princess and just go on her own and be a Witcher? Did I miss that part of the books? Did I just not read far enough to get to that part? Or did that part just not actually happen in the books? And now they're just making it up for The Witcher 4 to try to push Ciri more, you know? Because people did like Ciri in The Witcher 3, I feel like. A lot of people didn't like her gameplay segments because they're boring as fuck. She's overpowered, she can dash around, do these dash attacks, and you just do that over and over again until you win. But they kind of forced you to do the gameplay segment in order to push her story. But I don't think anyone's really asking to play Ciri in The Witcher 4. I think most people wanted to play as, you know, The Witcher, Geralt. So, again, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out, as this dev says, that you just gotta wait and see. It's actually gonna be really good, guys. You're gonna love it. Again, I'm not sold. I'm skeptical. The first trailer didn't sell me on Ciri as a Witcher. I thought it looked silly. Again, considering her powers, considering her background, considering that she's a fucking empress and a princess and has time wizard powers. I don't know. I'm not gonna get over it. But again, like the dev says, we'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. Well, if you like the video, like it. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I'm on your channel, so subscriptions do go a really long way. And thanks for watching. Peace.